कालीकूर्च समायुक्त मायाकूटोपदेशतः प्रणवार्थ नमामि गुरुपादुके श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः क्रीं मात्रे नमः नमस्सदसे. Good afternoon once again. We are continuing on with the Hindu Holocaust, and this time I am going to use the snippets of audio from Nityananda's Rajashekhar's speech on Hindu Holocaust. Let us see if they are trying to file any DMCA or anything. We will see how things work out. If it happens, then I will be using the transcript, no problems.
For this giving voice today, if I was available for Indian police, I will be arrested within 24 hours. I have not mentioned any individual pointing fingers. I have not spoken anything against any community, any religion, anybody. I am just bringing the whole world's attention for this continuous Hindu Holocaust and mob lynching happening against Hindu sadhus and Hindu leaders. Just for this, they would have arrested me.
Now, let us ask a very simple question. When was the last time that Nityananda was arrested? And what is the reason that the arrest warrant is available on Nityananda? Well, the arrest warrant that is available is an ongoing court case from one Mrs. Aarti Rao and Lenin Karupan. That was the reason why he was arrested. As simple as that. Okay. Not because his sannyasi spoke about Vairamuthu, not because he made an anti-Hindu speech, absolutely nothing like that. But there are sannyasis available in India who have fatwas declared against them for speaking out against fundamentalist Muslims. And now Nityananda is saying, I am not pointing any names, I am not doing that, I am not doing this. Why do that? That is the real guts. To say names, to point fingers to exactly where the crime belongs, and then to face the persecution. That is the real manliness, that is the real guts that the Hindu sannyasis have in India. Not simply making roundabout statements and not simply saying I will be persecuted because I am a Hindu. It is be persecuted as a Hindu, become a real martyr, then speak. Do not get persecuted for rape cases which you have actually done. That is what is going to come out by all the evidences that is available. I am not a judge, I am just a common observer, and this is what my common sense is telling me. So on that note, what you are doing here is simply trying to insert yourself in a scenario that you do not belong to. Continuing on.
If I was available, fortunately, by Paramashiva's grace, I am not available to them as on now. And Paramashiva is protecting me, Kalabhairava is protecting me. I will never be available for them anymore.
Now this is the problem. What are you doing sitting somewhere in an undisclosed island trying to bark like this and trying to do self-insert like this into the actual narrative? And one more thing, the same question that I asked in the last video. Now you are not Paramashiva anymore. You have become Nityananda again by your own statement. Is Paramashiva something like a slipper that you can wear, that you will wear whenever you want and you will remove it whenever you don't want? Is it like your fake wig that you are wearing? You will take it off and bloody put it on. That is how you are treating Paramashiva's presence in you. Because it is not true and you know it is just a lie that you are saying, so you are not afraid. That itself is showing that you are not a God-fearing, practicing Hindu. You don't have any faith whatsoever on Hinduism or any of the concepts of Hinduism. Continuing.
Just for this speech, just for this, they would have arrested me. If possible, they would have handed over me to a mob, and the mob would have killed me. Array, they have done this so many times. Fortunately, I am not dead. Police has handed over me to mob. We have enough evidence.
Now the question is, what have you done with that evidence? Have you tried to release that evidence to the media? Okay, you will say the media has not accepted the evidence. Have you tried to raise a case in the court using that evidence? You will say, no, the court will not support me. That is the reason why I ran away. Now this has become a catch-22 situation, because according to you, everything in India, the entire government is invalid, and that is the reason why you have run away. So I am saying, you openly declare yourself against the Indian government and the judiciary system. Do not play games like this. I dare Nityananda or any of his followers to say that we do not want India. Then we will see what is going to happen to all your activities inside India. That is the problem here. You give up Indian citizenship. All of Nityananda's followers try to give up Indian citizenship and see what is happening. You will never be asked to do that, because there will never be a country that can be formed effectively, because Nityananda is only a runaway criminal, is a hiding criminal and nothing more. He is not a visionary, or he is not a person who can go and start a country. He is simply a person who is sitting somewhere in a non-extradition territory to escape the persecution of law, like any other running away criminal, like Vijay Mallya, or like what is this fellow's name? That Muslim guy who is right now sitting in Malaysia. I forgot his name. Okay, that fellow, Zakir Naik. So Zakir Naik and Nityananda are one and the same. They ran away from India and they are speaking bad about India, and they are not willing to come back when the cases are available against them in India. This is the comparison that I am making, not as a pseudo-secular media person, but as a traditional Hindu who is clearly seeing that Nityananda is as much a Hindu as Zakir Naik. Continuing on.
They attempted to kill me. I have enough evidence to eliminate me.
Wow, long pause.
Kailaya gives Satgadi and their assistant driver, all three. You see that video, how brutally he is being killed. Let us bring the world's attention on this continuous mob lynching of Hindu sadhus and Hindu leaders by the terrorist gang all over India continuously.
Now this is another problem. He keeps on speaking about international attention. Let me ask a very simple question. What is international attention going to do in order to stop this Holocaust or whatever? Basically, on one hand, we say that these very international forces are the ones which are behind the anti-Hindu movement. Those are the ones who are funding the anti-Hindu movements in India, like missionaries on one hand and the Muslim terrorist organizations on the other hand. Those are the ones who are actually funding it. Now what difference is international attention going to make? And if you are speaking about NRI attention, that is non-residential Indians attention, I think they are already very active in this process. What actually needs to be done is national integration, is bringing in the feeling of nationalism that cannot be done from outside India. That has to be done only inside India, using social, spiritual, religious and socio-political powers, elements, activities in order to rekindle the spirit of Hinduism in the Hindus. And that cannot be done under a single banner like calling everybody to be Nityananda's sannyasi. That is what he is going to do towards the end of the video. So that can only be done by effectively bringing organic Hinduism. For that we need to weed out people like Nityananda. That is the whole point here. There might be a little bit of long pauses in my videos because I am trying to record the audio from Nityananda, and you know how he is waiting for the prompts in his microphone from Atmapriya, also known as Paramashiva's message from Kailasha, or whoever is the next person who is sitting there in that pit, in the sound pit.
If we don't bring international attention, politicians are not even going to wake up to this truth. Politicians will have their own priorities.
Okay, now another issue here is, Rajashekara, politicians don't have to wake up to this truth. They are the ones who are actually causing these scenarios. The real attack on organic Hinduism is being created by politicians, by anti-Hindu politicians whose entire political narrative is dependent on the cultural colonialism, Marxism, so on and so forth. All the social justice concept in Tamil Nadu, the anti-Hindu concept in Tamil Nadu, those are the people who are actually behind these kinds of attacks. And they don't have to wake up. I think you are deluded there, thinking that somebody has to wake up. Both parties are very much awake here. Both BJP and the rest of the political parties which are anti-Hindu are both extremely awake, and both are waging a war right here in India. That is exactly what is happening here. And it is not that the politicians will have to wake up. Nobody has to wake up. Only your sheeple has to wake up and see that you are just trying to create a self-insertion on this narrative and trying to even make money out of the killing of Hindu sadhus. You cannot find a worse person, you cannot find a bloody bastard than this, who is trying to make money out of every single thing that is happening around him. Worst case scenario and worst kind of human being possible. Continuing on.
The whole ecosystem, media, entertainment industry, officials, including police, politicians, lawmakers, all the decision makers are absolutely brainwashed against Hinduism, Hindu sadhus and Hindu leaders, Hindu thinkers.
This is the problem here. If Nityananda would have spoken about this in, let us say, before 2009 or before 2014, before BJP came to rule in India, all this would have been acceptable. But unfortunately, now a true secular government is happening in India. And whatever he is saying right now is actually timed content. That is, he has already, that problem is being resolved in India, and he is simply drawing a blindfold over the whole Hindu revivalism that is actually happening inside India. The whole political support that Hindus are getting today, the Hindu vote banks that are being created today, the success that a pro-Hindu party called BJP is having in India. He is totally forgetting this. He is totally bringing a blindfold over this whole setup because it does not suit his narrative. Let us understand it in three separate bits to form the equation. First bit is the Hindu Holocaust that Nityananda is calling. I will simply call it persecution. So the Hindu persecution that is happening in India. One piece. Piece A. Piece B is the actual support from the government that is happening to sadhus and sannyasis. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji invited Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Maharaj, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, to his coronation ceremony, to his swearing in ceremony, and he sat right next to Dalai Lama. Then he himself visited Isha during the Mahashivratri and opening of the Adiyogi statue. So these two things, these two people, Ravi Shankar and Ravi Shankar ji, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji and Sadguru Jagi Vasudev, are both icons just like Nityananda as he is portraying himself in South India. The problem here is the actual pro-Hindu government is willing to support and is actively supporting those who are working really towards Hindu revivalism, but they want nothing to do with Nityananda because they see him for what he is, and that is why Nityananda's stomach is burning. He is saying the entire system is brainwashed against him. It is not actually brainwashed, it is waking up against him. The entire system has actually woken up against Nityananda. He is not able to digest this fact, so he is just turning the plate, he is twisting the entire fact 180 degree, and he is saying the entire government is against Hinduism, because the entire government is actually against him, whom the government does not think as a Hindu but a fake man, but a criminal. That is the problem here. Continuing on.
The whole ecosystem carries the grand narrative against Hinduism. Already Hindu sadhus are painted as anti-social elements in India.
Actually, there is a small, once again, this is a very, very minute area that we need to understand. Nobody, even during the height of the anti-Hindu movement, the height of the so-called Dravidian movement in Tamil Nadu, nobody dared to raise a finger against Kanchi Mahaswamigal or Ramana Maharshi. None of these people who are putting footwear garland to Rama's photo and all these things, all these bastards, they did not even they did not dare to raise a single finger against Kanchi Mahaperiva or Ramana Maharshi. Whom they were fighting against are certain sannyasis whom I do not want to name here, because I don't want to rekindle all that old garbage, that is old sewage which is already dried out, so I don't want to add water to it. So those people who were just like Nityananda, trying to make money, doing magic tricks and faking his spirituality. So these were the exact people whom who became the fodder, who became the ammunition, who became the reason for these anti-Hindu elements to have some ground to speak from. So I am saying the reason why anti-Hindu scenario is happening here, anti-Hindu scenario is happening here is not because of the existence of traditional Hinduism, but because people like Nityananda are giving grounds to these anti-Hindu people to speak against them, to paint Hinduism as a criminal religion. It is not that the media is painting all the sadhus as criminals. The media is actually using the criminals like Nityananda to paint Hinduism as a criminal religion. So your existence is the affront right here. Your existence is the problem here, that Hinduism is being persecuted. You remove all the fake gurus, all the conmen from Hinduism, and let us see what is going to happen. You will see that the traditional Hinduism cannot be shaken by any anti-Hindu forces. It has survived for the past 17,000 years, out of which 700 years was under Muslim rule and 400 to 300 years whatever was under the British rule. I am including the last century as well. I am including till current rate it was under the European rule, and both of these Western and the Muslim conquests have not diminished India in any way, have not diminished Hindu Dharma in any way. But in the past 60-70 years, due to the fake new age gurus like Nityananda, Hinduism has seen a great decline. All this ridicule, all this scorning, all this all this corning, everything has happened. The people's faith has been shaken because there have been people like Nityananda happening in Hinduism, and they are not Hindus. Let me make it very clear. None of the gurus who are asking a fixed dakshana, none of the gurus who are asking for, who are claiming themselves to be God by themselves, who are a self-centered pieces of shit, are Hindu gurus. They are in Hindu guru grab. They are looking like Hindu gurus, but they are actually as much anti-Hindu as they are claiming they are claiming the others like Muslims and Christians and whatever fundamentalist organizations, Marxists, anti-Hindus, whoever is there, you know, all these Dravidian parties and everything, whatever damage they are doing, Nityananda is doing a similar or even greater damage to Hinduism, and he is now trying to hide behind the shield that is going to protect the actual Hindus, and for that he is saying everything else is ineffective, while actually there is effective safeguarding and effective support going on never than before, more than before. It is going on right now in India, and he is trying to pull a blindfold on this entire process because it is going to suit his narrative if he does that. Continuing on.
Don't try to come and defend here using some excuses or few exemption Hindu leaders. Understand, exemptions are not rule. As a rule, Hindu sadhus and Hindu thinkers, Hindu leaders are painted as anti-social elements and terrorists.
Now this is the problem. He is saying do not bring an exemption, and I will tell you what he is meaning by this. He is meaning Narendra Modi ji. Narendra Modi ji is not the exemption, he is the leader of the country. Rajashekara, Mutti pochi kavindu pocha manda. The person who is leading the country is actually a pro-Hindu who is claiming himself as a practicing Hindu and who is completely supporting all the Hindu sadhus and sannyasis who are true. The problem here is, I have heard from some sources that Nityananda is extremely jealous of many other sadhus and sannyasis like Baba Ramdev and, you know, Jagi Vasudev and then Shri Ravi Shankar. I am not getting into the argument whether they are you know, as good as Kanchi Mahaperiva or anything like that. I am not creating any such equation. I am only saying they are not sewage water like Nityananda. At least you can say they are normal mineral water, if not even if they are not Ganges water. That is the level that I am keeping the whole setup at. So, but unfortunately those people are getting support. Unfortunately for Nityananda, those people are getting support, and the exception that he is mentioning here is the Prime Minister of the country, Narendra Modi ji, who is highly supportive, and based on him in every single state you will find Yogi Adityanath ji, and you will find you know, Raja Hariharan ji, you will find Ila Ganesan ji, you will find so many people who are openly supporting Hindu leaders. That is becoming the rule here, not the exception. And the exception that you are trying to project here is actually the exception because they are considering you as an exceptional case. They are considering you as the only fellow whom they will not respect even if you are looking like a Hindu. And that is your problem. So he is trying to draw a blindfold over the entire Hindu support that is happening in the country. He is only trying to portray one side of the picture to the entire world. Not even to the entire world. To what? 43,205 views since April 20th. That is almost what, 2,000 views, 10 days, 4,000 views per day. So out of this 4,000 views per day, if you take organically, it is only 50%. So to whatever 2,000 people who are repeatedly watching his shit sung, that crowd he is trying to portray a one-sided picture. Wherein he is trying to simply show that everything is negative, everything is negative, everything is negative. This is what is technically called as a doomsday scenario. And this doomsday scenario is something that cults love very much, because it will create a sense of urgency, it will create a sense of persecution, it will create a sense of victimhood in the followers, so that they will be more susceptible to listen to whatever the cult leader wants them to do. Cults love the doomsday scenario, because if I am saying, for example, this corona can be converted into a doomsday scenario, we can keep on saying there is no hope, there is no hope, there is no hope. I will build this up to a certain pitch, then suddenly I will say yes, but there is hope, and the hope is giving me 2,000 3,000 rupees. I will send you one water, that water you can use, that is the hope. So if I am bringing a narrative like this, then I will be able to fool people who are having a susceptible mindset. And that is exactly what Nityananda is trying to do here, by continuously saying there is no hope, there is no hope, there is no hope. And that is the reason why he is drawing a blindfold on everything that is positive in India, and he is only trying to portray the negatives that is happening. It is a very dire scenario. I agree, things has to be done, but that does not mean things are not at all being done. That is the difference here.
Bollywood or Bollywood or Sandalwood or all the whole cinema industry in India heavily funded by anti-Hindu elements, and they have successfully done the continuous hate speech at least for last 50 years. And the poison they emitted and the brainwashing they have done has gone so deep, even Hindus are feeling ashamed.
Now, there are two levels to this kind of hate speech or whatever Nityananda is saying. There are two sorts of hate speech or two sorts of anti-Hindu rhetoric. The first sort of anti-Hindu rhetoric is the foundational rhetoric, saying that Hinduism is an invalid religion. All the beliefs of Hindus are meaningless, and all these so-called Puranas and other things are not history. And then the Itihasa Purushas like Rama and Krishna did not exist. So whatever practices Hindus are doing are barbaric. So this kind of a narrative, that our history is wrong, that our geography is wrong, this kind of narrative was the first one that was created by the colonial forces in order to destroy the spirit of Hinduism, thereby destroying the spirit of nationalism, so that they can continue to exploit this country as a colony. This was the first narrative that was created. This narrative can be very easily broken by simply explaining the actual proof, by explaining the reality, the truth to everybody, that India is not such a religion, India is not such a culture that has been faked for 17,000 years. It is the reality, it is the living culture, the most ancient culture and the longest living ancient culture, and it could not have survived on lies. And we have practical proofs, we have material evidence, we have physical evidence that this culture has been correct. So this note we can very easily prove. But I will tell you what complicated the problem in the later days. What actually complicated the problem was the cropping up of fake gurus like Nityananda. I am taking the argument back to Nityananda here. I am asking a very simple question. If not even one single man came up with the ill intention of misusing Hinduism, do you think half of the anti-Hindu rhetoric will even have ground to stand on? I am not saying all the Hindu sadhus are wrong or anything like that. Let me make it very clear. Once again, we are entering into the territory of water and milk. So you have to separate the milk from the water. So I am saying the later phase, the revival of the anti-Hindu rhetoric. The revival of the anti-Hindu rhetoric, meaning the first wave of anti-Hindu rhetoric was trying to disprove Hinduism, and that was effectively curtailed by various movements, and the real Hindu rhetoric started to be propagated inside India, and we started to get the feeling of nationalism back. But at that same time, what happened on the other hand was the New Age movement, when many gurus came and they started to say whatever they want in order to make money, in order to gain disciples, and that gave more ammunition, that created a new basis, a new ground for these anti-Hindu elements to stand and speak from. And you are one amongst the group, perhaps you are the highest grossing fellow of the group, who is trying to create a narrative of Hinduism, and who is simply trying to make it into a doomsday scenario right now, and who is trying to call everything negative about Hinduism simply to gain more support for you out of your brainwashed followers. Moving on.
About their existence. When I grew up, seeing people wearing the Hindu marks in the regular lifestyle, the day-to-day life, used to be 90% of the people's forehead. Now it is less than 3% people wearing the Hindu symbols on their forehead in Indian society. People are ashamed to show themselves as Hindus. Sadhus are terrorized. They have to constantly live in fear. Hindus, wake up.
Again, this is the doomsday scenario. That is, I am not denying the fact that wearing religious marks, showing yourself as a Hindu, displaying your religion, all this has reduced in India. I am not saying no. That is very true. But the very next sentence that he is saying, that sannyasis are living in constant fear, they are terrorized. So wake up India, wake up Hindus. Okay. Now the problem here, this is what I call as the doomsday scenario. That is saying a fact. For example, Corona is happening. The world has come to an end. So that is doomsday. Corona is happening, reality. Hindus are not wearing marks on their forehead. Not because they are ashamed, because they don't care. That is my reason. The reason that I am giving is very simple. It is not because Hindus are not, they are afraid or they are ashamed. Nothing like that. It is very simple. They don't care anymore. They do not know the significance of it, so they don't care. So how to bring this significance into the society? How to bring back this understanding into the society? That is something that has to happen inside India, not from outside India. That is something that Nityananda, if at all he wants to do, has to come, face the court and then come out and then start propagating it on a grassroots level. That is how the society can change. And actually we don't want Nityananda for doing that. We are having many other organizations already doing that. So all he needs to do is come and surrender to the court and face the persecution like a man. That is all I am saying. We will continue on with his Holocaust narrative soon. More videos will come out on this because there is a lot of content to discuss here, and I am effectively using his audio. And let me make it very clear, this is fair usage because I am only trying to analyze what he is doing from an educational perspective. So if it is being taken down or anything like that, then please understand it is the atrocity of the Nityananda Sangha against any critics who are opening their mouth against them. It is the persecution of a practicing Hindu by Nityananda Sangha. Thank you so much. Dacham yora vranimahe gatum yajnaya gatum yajnapataye dhaivi swastirastunah swastirmanushebhyah urdvanjigadu beshajam shanno astu dvipate sanchatushpate am shanti shanti shanti. Namaste Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.